So we're here now on Genesis 21, and I want to talk about specifically the reaction that Sarah gave when she looked over and she saw Ishmael, and she looked over and she saw the servant of Abraham that he slept with and bore the son Ishmael with, Hagar. Isaac is now born. God has fulfilled the promise that he made to Abraham and to Sarah, that they would have a child together. Previously, they were rushing God, and they were showing distrust in God, and Abraham went and he slept with his servant, or Sarah's servant, Hagar. Sarah had said, go ahead and do this so you can have a son. And God said, no, this isn't the promised son I have for you. Ishmael is not the promised son. So now the promised son is here, Isaac, and they're seeing the promise. They're realizing, wow, God came through for us. And now Sarah is looking. She's looking at Hagar and she's looking at Ishmael and she's scoffing. And she's like, ugh. She's just like, ugh. I can't bear to be around them. Like, has that ever happened to you? Has that ever happened to you in your life where you look back at your old life, or you look back at a previous decision that you made, and you start to feel this regret, this disgust? I don't think her disgust was towards Hagar. I don't think her disgust was directly towards Ishmael. Yeah, they were the subject. They were objectified in that way. But her disgust was really with, like, how could we have not trusted God? How could we have not trusted God? Look at this. This is, looking at Ishmael, looking at Hagar, is just a reminder. It's just a reminder to Sarah at that point of their distrust in God, and how and just their sin. So she's feeling convicted, and Abraham now he's in this pickle, and he's like, oh no, that's my son Ishmael. Like, no matter what, he's my son still. And it's true, because God said, he promised to Abraham that he's a father of many nations. And even though Isaac's the promised son, Ishmael is still going to have many descendants himself, which come from the line of Abraham. So God still says, I'm going to make him a great nation as well. Ishmael's people, they're going to be a great nation just like Isaac's people. So it's because they came from you, and that's who you are. You are the father of many nations. So no matter what happens, even through your sin, you're still a father of many nations. Whether it's the promised son or the son that they bore together, even through their distrust in God. So what I see here is just this picture of when I think of my life, and I think of just how I look back at past decisions I've made. I read old posts I put on Facebook and social media 5, 10, 15 years ago. I start to like, oh, I was such a child. I was such a child back then. Oh, get it out of my face. Get it out of my face. And that's what I'm seeing here in this passage. So, really what we need to be reminded of here, I think, and it's because God does say to Abraham, no, listen to your wife Sarah, send them away, send Hagar and Ishmael away. Don't worry, Abraham, I will take care of them. And he does provide for them. We read that he does provide for them even in their time of need in the desert. So God is love through and through. His grace and his mercy abound even to people that are outside of that promise. So where was I with this? We were talking about the past life and everything. Yeah, so thinking about Sarah scoffing and God saying, listen to the voice of your wife and do what she says. It's kind of like I think about getting married. I think about putting behind me former ways, older ways, and how I must continually die to myself, and how I must continually put the past behind me. Just put it behind me and press on, move forward, live in the promise of God. God has given you a promise, live in it, pursue that promise, cling to it. Don't hold on to the past. We saw what happened earlier when Lot's wife clinged to her past, or had a little bit of regret for leaving Sodom and Gomorrah. She looked behind her, and it was the end of her. It was the end of her. So, you know, we have to live in the promise of God. We have to follow Jesus wherever he takes us and leave the past behind. I can't emphasize that enough. God provided for Ishmael and Hagar. They were people. He saw them as people because they were. They're not just devices here in the story. They are real people, and we see that play out here as well, and how God takes care of them. But in the situation, in what God is doing here, the bigger picture of salvation that he's bringing to mankind, because he brings salvation to mankind through the line of Abraham, and that's Jesus Christ. God is focused. God is focused on this, and this is where he wants them to be. He wants Sarah and Abraham focused on the life he has promised them, and that is their son Isaac. So that's where I'm going to end today in Genesis 21. Hope you guys have a blessed night. I am going to enjoy some wonderful sushi now. So I'll see you soon.